Hey everyone, it's Rye bringing you part 3 of my honor guide. This one is going to be the more requested version, the more common, the more stereotypical reason you'd play honor. That's why I'm calling it the DGen edition. Um, so this is going to be more about what the pictures you see on the right, um, and kind of how to use them or how to prep yourself to use them. And I'm actually going to do a different type of example instead of doing a AI game. I actually, kind of, I got pretty lucky. I got a Civ that does this extremely well. So this would be an exact situation where you would probably opt into doing this strategy in the first place. And I'm going to kind of walk you through the early game of that game and show you explain my thought process and etc. and how I kind of navigated it. Um, this is a proposal I'm working on. Sorry about that. So similar to what we were talking about before, we're going to be using these exact same trees, these paths that we can take. I'm going to be ignoring the archer for now, and we're going to be mostly focusing on these first two. So, all right, let's just jump right in. So this is a game I played yesterday at the time of making this video. Um, I'm starting on turn 7, just to get past like some of the early stuff. Um, in terms of layout, you can see, we have Chaco directly north of us. We're pretty close to the coast. We could fit the city in north. We have Tallinn. We have another hill city-state, Vaduz. There's going to be another city-state directly to my right on the coast, Harappa. And I'm just going to be skipping through this. I'm not going to be showing you this whole video as this is more of this is like the whole game until we scrap, CC'd, whatever. Um, and yeah, so instantly what I'm thinking is, okay, in this position, I'm 100% playing honor here. I'm going to be killing my neighbor with as I'm Sue, I have a really, really strong unit called Buffalo Hunters, which are compos. So I'm going to be abusing Buffalo Hunters, and I'm going to be killing my neighbor, regardless what his position is. Um, in terms of this lobby, it's not particularly strong. I'd say there's probably one other person, maybe two, that could win the game, but I'm heavily favored just off the jump. Um, so I'm not particularly concerned about player strength, but in regards to where my sim is, I know my sim is likely to be competitive regardless what happens. So there's actually another city state directly to the left of the do. So this is very much an isolated start, which is perfect for honor, right? It's perfect for what we're going to be doing here. We have a straight shot to Songhai's cap. Um, a lot of good tributes that we can get. But you'll see that I'm taking bronze working, and I'm obviously, as I mentioned in the last two videos, we tech bronze working so we can buy a spearman, and we can get tributes from those hill city states, which we might not be able to normally. Okay, so the micro in this game is actually fairly good. I do kind of slack off a little bit later on, but um, that's just kind of how it goes. But the sim is pretty good, so if you want to like look at that and why I'm simming like that, like feel free to dig more in. But here you'll see me going straight to Chaco Canyon, kind of prepping this in 4 turns that I'm going to be getting I'm going to be getting my warriors unless I get lucky and find a barbarian that's low HP or something. But spoiler, that doesn't happen. So I'm headed straight to Chaco Canyon and prepping a steal on that and going to be prepping a tribute. Didn't get particularly lucky with runes this game. I got a pop rune, which is really nice, an upgrade rune for archer, which is pretty nice. But my gold rune, I think I got a gold rune, but it was only like a 50 or I mean a 55 or maybe a 60. So that extra 40 gold would have went a long way. Potentially wouldn't have bought a tile and just bought a spearman instead, which would have enabled me to not tribute Chaco with gold. And that's pretty relevant because I would have been able to get a worker much faster from Chaco. I would have been able to get 2 workers from Chaco instead of just one, but it's totally fine. Not every game is going to go perfectly. So here we're going to be tributing Chaco for gold to buy Spearmen so that we can tribute the other three city-states. You also see this land isn't very good. It's fairly hilly, which is naturally a pretty good thing for hammers, but it makes it so that your movement options are fairly limited when you're moving across the city-states and when you're staying that five tile tether distance from the city-states. So I'm going to kind of spend most of my time talking about like these tributes and what I'm thinking, but um, essentially I'm thinking, okay, there's no way I can tribute all three of those city-states and get to Harappa before it builds a couple units or before I might miss um, the window where it's worth building, right? Like you'll see Harappa's here. It's a very good city-state to steal from. It is kind of annoying because there's a camp over there, but um, that's totally fine. But the point is, I'm not going to be able to steal from it in time where it's worth waiting. Not it's where it's worth it where I didn't take the worker initially, right? So that's like how I'm thinking about this. Where as soon as this worker comes out, like every turn that it's around that I don't have it is an opportunity cost. So I see this as the risk that I could get a tribute on it isn't worth the reward of missing out on an early worker. So going to be taking this worker as well. Land here to my north is actually quite good. A lot of good TP tiles, which is what we like to see on Sue. Also got very lucky finding two natural wonders, right? I have Sripada. The Songhai player has Luru, which means that I'm going to be two happiness higher than I normally would, which means I can plant a city and not go unhappy. So here I am thinking, I right now I'm trying to talk to Johnny. Like I have three warriors. I could pause here. I have three warriors, a spear, and then a scout, aka this archer, and another scout that are in range of talent. This is enough to work or tribute, assuming I'm top mill and assuming that they're all of 5 tiles, which they are, and uh, assuming Talon has no unit. It's just enough. It's barely enough to work or tribute. But if the city state was hostile, if the city state had a pledge, which it does in this case, you're not going to be able to. I'm trying to get a worker tribute. As we've seen, like I don't have a lot of workers as it is. I only have 3 right now on turn 21. If we compare that to one of our other games, we had like 11. Um, 11 by this point, right? So, or 9 or whatever it is, right? So I offer him 20 gold because I'm not taking gold. He's, you know, some people would say this is a good thing. I would say, you're missing 20 gold here, but it depends how much value you put into 20 gold. I personally don't put much value, so he probably thinks that I'm going to get a lot more from the deal than he would, which is 100% true. I'm essentially buying a worker from him for 20 gold, which is just outrageous. But um, you know, props to him. He said no, so I'm just going to tribute gold here. We're going for compos anyway. Having gold early is actually what we're going to be looking for. The other thing you'll notice is I'm trying to get my pillages off. I'm trying to pillage all these tiles because um, when you pillage the tiles, you're healing your unit, but you're also kind of generating quite a bit of gold. In the last patch, they updated it so that the gold you get from tributes early is actually more significant. So, we can get up to like 30 or 40 gold here from just from pillaging on talent. So that's the thought process here. I'm going to try to bring over Vidus because I see it doesn't have a pledge, which means I could potentially get a tribute on it um, for worker. Unfortunately, Talon is going to shoot down my warrior, and my warrior is 1 tile off Vidus, which just kind of sucks. But getting this worker here is very important at this timing because otherwise it just runs away. Um, so here I am getting another tribute on Vidus. Right, that plunder just gave me 30 gold. That's ridiculous, right? Um, so we're at 300 now on Vidus. I'm actually going to be buying a scout in cap because I want more steals, and I want a steal from Chaco because I needed the scouts um, as close to Vidus and Talon as possible. I wasn't able to keep a scout over by Chaco to steal. So um, gonna be buying a scout to kind of get those steals off, and that's totally fine to do. Um, yeah, so I'm not gonna be able to get Riga because it's got a tribute, and I think it built a unit, and we can tell it built a unit because it's at 18 strength. Um, I was gonna tribute gold here anyway, so I look who the Prussia player is, and I message Gudifer, and I'm like, hey, can I tribute? He's like, yeah, I'll remove if you split gold. But he had just pledged, so there's a delay period in which you can do that, which sucks, but it is what it is. So we're just gonna skip past this a little bit. This is like very, very standard sim. Um, you'll see I'm building my granary right away in cap. My first city expand went granary right into caravan. That's kind of the power of and this actually I think someone DC'd. So we're gonna be there. Like, see how there's 3 workers on this city? Right, this is perfect. This is what we're looking for to do. All 3 tiles are improved, right? The city has 4 tiles to work now because of an oasis. So it's just really good. I'm also, you can notice I'm stealing from, let me go back. I'm stealing from Tallinn and Vaduz still. I'm also, I have this scout over by my eastern city, uh, scout by my eastern city, which is going to steal from the horse tile on Chaco. And then I'm also stealing from Harappa. So I'm stealing from 4 city-states right now, which is really good. Trying to get workers up as fast as possible because getting roads down, not only is it good for money. Actually, I think some of them will pay off instantly. Some of them might lose you a little bit of money, but it's mostly for the mobility. Um, and then obviously, as you grow, you're going to be generating more gold per turn, which is great. So here we are. Um, I'm about to get my barracks policy, so I'm pre-building some units. Don't want to waste any hammers that could have been more efficiently used. AKA, I'm not going to build a barracks or prep build a barracks. When I could just wait for the policy and then do it, right? So pretty basic stuff. Peace out, Chaco here. Go right into barracks policy. You'll notice I went straight into TOA. So getting a 41 TOA is fine, right? There was no chop, so um, it's obviously not going to be that fast. The cap's not very strong. It's an intense cap. Only 1 or 2 deer tiles, so not great. But the important thing is we're going TOA here because we want the promos on our archers. Um, if we can match our promos with a barracks, right, that's a double promoted unit with discipline on planes, you kind of get my point. Like, these things are going to be insane, right? These units are going to be so strong, um, right? Because Sioux gets a 15% bonus on planes. They also get a bonus. I mean, then you also have the promotions. You have the discipline, right? Just a lot of really good stuff. You also see I'm not garrisoning anything in my western city. That's because I have more than enough happiness to take me where I need to go. Um, I am trying to hit a natural, but it's not super important to me. Um, the reason it's not garrisoned is because I'm actually farming that camp. Whenever it spawns a unit, I'm just gonna go kill the unit. So I eventually do make a scout in that city, but yeah. So this is all fairly standard stuff. We're about to get construction. We have about 200 gold. What I'm doing here is I'm walking up towards Chaco, and I'm going to be trying to tribute Chaco. Once I get upgrade to comp bowmen or buffalo hunters, I'm going to be in a much better spot for having enough gold to upgrade all my units. I actually don't pre-build that many archers, and I could have pre-built 2 more, which was a mistake on my part. I could have pre-built 2 more um, to upgrade because I'm actually able to tribute the city-states south of me as well, Tallinn. So just building a bunch of units, right? Like, it's turn 50. We're going to be attacking on turn 52. In terms of speed, it's not great. You know, this game wasn't super. Um, it wasn't a terribly strong game. It wasn't weak. It was fine. Pretty mediocre, if anything. Like, I'm only on 60 hammers on turn 50. If we think back to our archer game, I mean, that was an extreme high roll, but if we think back to an archer game, that was around 70 hammers by 45. I played it out. By turn 65, I was 200 hammers, right? Like, this is not going to be that kind of game, and that's totally fine. Not every game can be like that, but this is kind of, I think this is a more realistic way of like approaching these kinds of situations. Now, I'm just gonna pause and um, we're gonna be declaring next turn, and I'm not gonna show you the rest of this game. I'll show you like the first attack and like how scary this initial push can be. But all he has to do, if you're Johnny here and you have an honor neighbor and it might be Sue or whatever, if he had an initial scout, he would see me walking up to Chaco, right? Okay, that's fine. Because the scary thing about honor is that they could be attacking you or they could be attacking a city state. Either way, they're building units, and you don't know what it's for. So you're kind of playing this game of like cat and mouse, where you're trying to figure out like, okay, like is he attacking me? Is he just going for city states? Um, like what do I do? Either way, you need scouts on their borders to see what they're building. If they're building catapults, okay, they're going for city states, and that's fine. You don't have to worry. If they're building comp bows and archers, you have to worry, right? Additionally, they're going to be upgrading units before they attack you. If their gold drops, that's why. You don't have to upgrade to catapults. So that's just something to keep in mind. Unfortunately for this player, for the Songhai player, I don't think even if he scouted me, it would have mattered that much. Hammers this game across the board weren't very strong, and um, more importantly, uh, I'm also Sue. His entire capital is plains. Um, I end up buying Shripata here. I buy a couple tiles that I was like kind of looking to buy that I may have been like saving money for. Um, uh, so for upgrades, so now I can kind of splurge. Additionally, once you take cities, you obviously get a huge gold boost, which is really, really nice. Here we are, we're about to hit our natural. Got a couple deals off. Lux is improved, etc. So here we are. So I declare on him on turn 52. He doesn't have anything here. This like the reason I made this play in the first place. Well, one, I wanted to make this video, truthfully. But the second reason is Timbuktu is probably one of the most indefensive cities you can imagine. Um, it is super super hard to easy to attack. A person could like I'm doing here, just come over the top and just absolutely like blow you up. Then there's nothing really that the other player could do about it. Um, his capital though is pretty defensive. There's a number of hills. He owns a lot of those hills. He owns a lot of the roads there. You'll see that as I'm scrolling through my units, a lot of them um, are upgraded for hills. Um, and that's because I want to make sure that I can clear that passing rather than kill the flatland stuff, right? Flatland stuff is gonna get blown up anyway, right? I have Buffalo Hunters, I'm Sioux. They're gonna have a ton of like strength and just absolutely annihilate this stuff. So this is a standard position you find yourself in a lot of the times if you're, you know, feeling. This is 100% a roll, and I got lucky on the roll, but ended up like one-shotting the city. Pretty crazy stuff. And we're gonna be next turn able to completely finish honor, which is great because when we finish honor, we'll be able to get our courthouse policy. So it kind of all lines up together. Additionally, if we go back, you'll see that I took discipline maybe 1 or 2 turns before I declared on him. Maybe a little before that actually, but that's obviously extremely important. Me prioritizing discipline there is what makes the difference. You'll see I'm actually only at 60 hammers. I just took another city. It's not um, I haven't flipped the city yet, so it doesn't count towards my hammers. But I'm only at 60 hammers. I'm not in my golden age. So with golden age, probably around 75 or something like that. So nothing crazy, right? This is not anything special. The important thing is that I'm attacking him early enough where he has nothing. And his cities are still coming online. And this is super common. I mean, for some Liberty games, like, if they're straight simming, like they could just be completely surprised. His religion's actually pretty good here, so I actually do a pretty funny thing later on. But they could just be completely surprised, while other lib sims, if they have a really fast start, if they're like a historically like really strong player, um, they they could have a really really good opening, and then that opening could just be you know um, it could be fast enough where they're able to build enough units fast, like in a timely fashion. So I think that's kind of all I really wanted to show for this. This turns out to be a very clean kill. I think I get like turn 76 or 77 universities with Machu Picchu up. So it's pretty good for killing a player. Very, very competitive. I was at like 400 food on turn 76 or something like that, right? So it was just actually insane. Um, so yeah, it turns out to be a really, really strong game. But the whole point is that we're using the same concepts that we did in the first episode, and we're just applying it differently. We're holding on to our gold. We're not bleeding. We're intentionally working our luxes. In this case, it's actually kind of to our disadvantage because it's incense, but still the point remains we're playing to the way that honor that I've been kind of preaching that honor should be played this entire time. And if we just like go forward a little bit, like this is almost like the exact same position we were in when we were building catapults, right? We're going to be overflowing these barracks into catapults, and then we're going to go sim. So either way, you're playing this early game pretty much the exact same way, regardless if you're going to kill someone or whatever. The only difference is you might spend your money a little more aggressively, right? You might, you know, buy some tiles, right? I could buy the cocoa tile in my northern city. I could buy the deer tile. I could buy that bison tile because it's TP, right? So there's a lot of different things that you can do. Obviously, this is an extreme example. I don't want people saying, "Oh, well, this only worked because it's Sue," and though Sue is an extremely powerful civ for this play, this is not the reason why it worked. The reason why it worked is because the sim leading up to the point that we attacked was strong enough. Um, it was strong enough that regardless who the player was or regardless like what they did, they would 100% die. It's just a matter of how costly it is to me, to the person attacking. Um, and this is more of a sim question than it is a civ question. So just wanted to make that point. But yeah, I hope this makes sense. I hope this is helpful to people. And then in the next video, we will discuss how to play the mid and late game as honor, what policy trees you should be taking, how to sim out of how to sim out of a kill. Um, I can actually use this as an example. I have some of my tournament games I can use as an example. How to sim out of honor, what you should be thinking about. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful. And yeah, see ya.